Whether or not you testify is a personal right, and no one can waive this right except you. If you decide to testify, you'll be subject to the same rules that govern other witnesses, and you may be examined and cross-examined on any relevant issue in this case. Do you wish to confer with lawyers some more about whether or not you should testify?
No, sir, I don't need to talk to them anymore.
Have you made a decision as to whether you're going to testify?
Yes, sir.
All right, and what is your decision?
I am going to testify. I want to testify. I'm Alec Murdaugh, Murdaugh. Good morning.
And good evening. I'm Vinnie Politan. Welcome to our special bonus hour of closing arguments. What a day. What a day. This is a huge trial, but today was the biggest day of that huge trial because the defendant, Alec Murdaugh, took the stand in his own defense. Unbelievable. Not necessarily expected by all. So in this hour, as you know, we go through the testimony that happens today, but then we go back and we connect the dots. We look for the themes. We look for consistencies and inconsistencies, trying to put all the pieces together. And tonight, it's Alec versus Alec. I mean, this is a guy who has given statements once, twice, 3, 4 times to investigators. So he has a lot of things that he has said. And today, he was on the stand all day long. So let's start here, though. I want to start because the absolute foundation of the prosecution's case against Alec Murdaugh is his big lie that he wasn't at the scene of the crime on the night of the murders, before the murders. He wasn't at the dog kennels. He just wasn't there. That was his story to investigators, to his family, to his business partners, to his friends. That was his story. And all of that was blown up by the evidence in the kennel video, where you hear 3 voices, 8:44, just before the time of the murders. And Alec's voice was identified by a whole bunch of witnesses.
Do you recognize voices on there?
Yes, sir.
Who do you recognize?
It's Paul, Maggie, Alec.
I recognize Paul Murdaugh. I recognize Maggie Murdaugh, and I recognize Alec Murdaugh.
Paul Murdaugh, Maggie Murdaugh, and Alec Murdaugh.
Paul Murdaugh, Maggie Murdaugh, and Alex Murdaugh.
How sure are you?
100%.
I'm 100% sure that's whose voices.
100%.
100%?
Yes, sir.
Can you point out Alec Murdaugh, the person whose voice you recognize in this video in this courtroom, please?
Sitting right there in the gray jacket.
Please let the record reflect he's identified the defendant.
I cannot emphasize how significant and important this part of the case is for the prosecution. It really is their case that he allegedly had an alibi, but the alibi was blown up by that video. So Alec Murdaugh took the stand today. And everyone in the courtroom, including the 12 in the box, know that he lied. He lied about not being there. Unbelievable. So how does he deal with that? Well, he's dealing with it head on. He's called on direct. I'm going to play that for you. His testimony today, acknowledging the big lie. Then I'm going to play for you the kennel video so you can hear the lie once more. And then we'll go back to his prior statements so you can hear what he initially told investigators, what probably would have been his defense in this case if that kennel video didn't exist. Let's take a look.
Mr. Murdaugh, is that you on the kennel video at 8:44 p.m. on June 7th, the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
It is.
Were you, in fact, at the kennels at 8:44 p.m. on the night Maggie and Paul were murdered?
I was.
Did you lie to SLED Agent Owen and Deputy Laura Rutland on the night of June 7th and told them that you stayed at the house after dinner?
I did lie to them.
Did you lie to Agent Owen and Agent Croft on the follow-up interview on June 10th that the last time you saw Maggie and Paul was at dinner.
I did lie to them.
And in the interview of August 11th, did you tell Agent Owen and Agent Croft, did you lie to them by telling them that you were not down at the kennels on that night?
Yes.
Alec, why did you lie to Agent Owen, Agent Croft, and Deputy Rutland about the last time you saw Maggie and Paul?
As my addiction evolved over time, I would get in these situations or circumstances where I would get paranoid thinking. It could be anything that triggered it. It might be a look somebody gave me. It might be a reaction somebody had to something I did. It might be a policeman following me in a car. That night, June 7th, after finding Mags and Paul, don't talk to anybody without Danny with you. All my partners were just repeatedly telling me that. I had a deputy sheriff taking gunshot tests from my hands. I'm sitting in a police car with David Owen asking me about my relationship with my wife and my son. And all those things coupled together after finding them, coupled with my distrust for SLED, caused me to have paranoid thoughts. Normally, when these paranoid thoughts would hit me, I could take a deep breath real quick and just think about it, reason my way through it, and just get past it really quickly. On June the 7th, I wasn't thinking clearly. I don't think I was capable of reason. And I lied about being down there. And I'm so sorry that I did. I'm sorry to my son Buster. I'm sorry to Grandma and Papa T. I'm sorry to both of our families. And most of all, I'm sorry to Mags and Pawpaw. I would never intentionally do anything to hurt either one of them. Ever. Ever.
Did you continue lying after that night? Did you not?
But once I lied, I continued to lie. Yes, sir.
Why?
You know, oh, what a tangled web we weave. But once I told the lie, I told my family, I had to keep lying.
Get back. Get back. Quit, Cash. Come on. Quit. That's okay. Come here. Sorry about that. Come here, Cash. Post it. Cash.
Hey, he's got a bird in his mouth.
Bubba.
Hey, Bubba.
It's a guinea.
There's a chicken.
Come here, Bubba.
Come here, Cash.
Come here, Bubba.
Cash. Quit.
Maggie was heard in the background, and you were heard in the background. And that was prior to 9 p.m.
I heard Rogan Gibson ask me if I was up there. He said he thought it was me.
Was it you?
At 9 o'clock?
Yes, sir.
No, sir. Not if my times are right.
Who do you think it could have been?
I have no idea.
And Rogan's been around your family for pretty much all of his life.
Oh, absolutely.
And he recognizes your voice, and you have a distinct voice. Do you think of anybody else that has a voice similar to yours that he may have misinterpreted?
No, sir.
The jury is seeing that. Alec is now admitting that was a lie to investigators, that he wasn't down there. Even when confronted with a witness who said he heard his voice down there, he stuck to it, doubled down. I wasn't at the scene of the murder. Well, today he admitted it all. Now, cross-examination occurred today as well. Let's take a look at the prosecutor now. Going after Alec Murdaugh again, trying to get him to agree about the lies that he has told, including this really, really big one.
Mr. Murdaugh, let's start with a few things I think we can agree on.
All right, sir.
You agree that the most important part of your testimony here today is explaining your lie for a year and a half that you were never down at those kennels at 8:44. Would you agree with that?
I think all of my testimony is important, Mr. Waters.
Would you agree that that's an important part of your testimony?
Sure.
All right. And would you also agree that the first time that law enforcement officers that you've talked to and the prosecution and here in open court ever heard you say that you lied about being in the kennels was today in this court?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
You would agree with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. All this time later, this is the first time you've ever said that?
Yes, sir.
And you would agree with me that for years you were stealing money from clients?
Yes, sir, I agree with that.
And that you were stealing from your law firm?
Yes, sir, I agree with that.
And that had been going on since at least 2010?
I'm not sure of the exact date, but it's been going on a long time. I'll agree with
All
that.
right, what's your best guess of the date?
I'm not sure.
You don't know?
I don't take a dispute with 2010. I just don't know that for sure.
All right. Sure about a lot of things, but you don't know that. Is that correct?
I'm fine with that date, Mr. Waters. I don't have any reason to dispute it. I'm just not certain of it.
Okay, so this again is the biggest part of the prosecution's case. So if the jury believes his reason for lying, that when he's in these situations and he knows that the investigators are kind of looking at him already as a suspect and he's got this paranoia going on, and that's why he chooses to lie at that moment, if the jury believes that, it's over for the prosecution. They need the jury to believe this guy's lying because he didn't want anyone to know he was there because he's the killer. So how can prosecutors undermine this explanation by Alec Murdaugh as to why he lied? They've got one. I don't know if they're going to use it. I would if I was the prosecutor. You go back to the 911 call. The way this case all started when the investigation begins. Alec Murdaugh calls 911, and the jury's heard all of that. What does he say there? That's a moment where he's not being confronted, he's not being called a suspect. All he is doing is making a call to a 911 dispatcher to get help. But listen closely to the 911 call, because in this call, he has already set up his timeline for not being at the kennel, not being at the scene of the crime. If prosecutors have to use this, if they want any chance to completely undermine and blow up Alec Murdaugh's explanation for why he lied. Let's listen.
When's the last time you talked to Maggie?
half ago, probably 2 hours ago. What? Okay, you said about 2 hours ago you talked to them? Approximately, yes, ma'am, approximately.
So, Al, you were asked the last time you saw them, and you said hour and a half, 2 hours ago, and then she followed up 2 hours ago. You just heard that?
I did hear that. And I said approximately to her question.
When was the last time you saw them, Maggie and Paul?
Right after I took the chicken from Bubba.
And the video we've seen is timestamp 8:44 p.m. Is that correct?
That's right.
All right, so he's got the chicken and boom, he's gone. No way, that timing doesn't work. It just does not work when you add it all up. All right, another big issue that Alec Murdaugh had to deal with straight on, another one of his lies, was the roadside shooting. The roadside shooting, he said some stranger shot him first, and then it turned out it wasn't some stranger, it was all a setup. Well, here's how they dealt with it on direct, and then we're gonna play for you how they dealt with it, how he initially dealt with it. Take a look.
And why did you want to be gone?
I mean, I knew all this was coming to a head. I knew how humiliating it was going to be for my son. I mean, I'd been through so much. At the time, in the bad place that I was, it seemed like the better thing to do. I don't think that way now, thankfully, but I did at the time.
And let me ask you this. Do you owe money to any drug dealers?
No, sir.
So there's not a threat out there that we need to worry about for Buster?
No, sir. No, sir.
Okay, so the money that you were paying to Curtis to get money from his dealer or his supplier, you were paid in full in those payments. So there's no outstanding debt that we need to worry about.
No, sir. Hey, Ryan, that's assuming that Curtis passed all the money along.
Well, no, I understand. I understand, and you know, we'll work. So, to the best of your knowledge, you don't owe anybody.
No, sir.
Okay. So the money that you paid him, you don't remember how much you paid him, but it was for pills, and you're saying that you didn't pay him at all for him to shoot you.
That's correct.
Now, I'm gonna be honest, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I understand.
And I know that, like, you know, whether you did or you didn't, it really doesn't have that much of a difference. So I'm not gonna, you know, but I appreciate you're being forthcoming and you're making every attempt to be honest at this point. But so, you know, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. So you did not make any financial payment to Curtis to have him shoot you?
No, I did not.
Okay, but you entered into a verbal agreement with him to set up a scheme where he would shoot you. It would be a suicide set up as a robbery homicide, and you doing so was in order for your son to get your life insurance policy.
I don't know about a robbery, but everything else is true.
He's got to explain lies, right? The jury knows he's a liar, but he's testifying, so they have to believe him. They have to believe him for this reasonable doubt to exist. We shall see. We've got a lot more to get to this hour when we come back. The wardrobe changes. How many times did Alec Murdaugh change his clothes? What's his explanation? What does he say he was wearing that day? And when did he change his clothes? And why did he change them? That's next.
How would you describe the defendant's hands when you saw him when you were interviewing him?
They were clean.
How would you describe his arms?
They were clean.
How would you describe his t-shirt?
Clean.
How would you describe his shorts?
Clean.
Is the individual you described as clean from head to toe in this courtroom?
Yes, he is. Everybody was a suspect at that point.
Including Al.
Including Al.
The trial that America is watching.
Disbarred lawyer Alec Murdaugh is accused of shooting his son Paul and his wife Maggie.
They're on the ground out at my kennel.
Prosecutors say a financial house of cards was collapsing around him.
Financial, digital, and forensic evidence.
It looked like he had stolen.
A big trial in a small southern town.
Ow. You did it so bad.
The Murdaugh Family Murders. Live coverage weekday mornings at 8, 7 Central on Court TV.
Were you, during that minute or however long it was, were you disposing of murder weapons, Alec?
No.
Were you disposing of bloody clothes?
No.
Clothing, such an important issue in this case because prosecutors don't have a bloody shirt or bloody pants to present to this jury. So their argument has to be that Alec Murdaugh got rid of those bloody clothes. So now we go back to the issue of what exactly was he wearing and when was he wearing it? Because we know he changed his clothes at least once that day and perhaps twice if you believe prosecutors. So Alec Murdaugh got on the stand today to tell this jury about his wardrobe, what he was wearing, when he was wearing it, why he changed it. I'm going to play that for you, and then you're going to see a moment where Alec Murdaugh starts to make almost like a legal argument to this jury. It's fascinating to watch, and it's all about the clothes again. So let's take a look.
The clothes that we saw in that Snapchat video was, is that the clothes you had at work that day?
Yes, those are the clothes I had on at work that day.
And the jury's seen you in those clothes, and what's on June 7th. How tall were you and how much did you weigh?
On June 7th, well, I'm a hair over 6'4", right at 6'4". On June the 7th, I was about 265 pounds, 264, 265.
And this was in June, June 7th?
Yes, sir.
When you're outside, riding around and doing, do you get hot and sweaty?
Absolutely. I mean, Paul and I had done some things. We unloaded the bulldozer, cleaned the bulldozer, we'd fooled around. Yeah, I mean, I sweated. I was heavy, and taking prescription pills also makes you sweat worse, or at least taking oxycodone makes you sweat more than you normally do.
So was it unusual for you to take a shower when you got back to the house?
Not at all.
And after you took a shower, what did you change into?
I changed into the clothes that you've seen in this trial, shorts and the shirt.
Did you get on your shirt high velocity blood spatter from being within a distance of a shooting Maggie or Paul?
There's no way that I had high velocity blood spatter on me.
Had you seen reports that said that at one point in time?
I have seen reports that said that.
Just to be clear, were you anywhere in the vicinity when Paul and Maggie were shot?
I was nowhere near Paul and Maggie when they got shot.
After SLED collected your clothing that night at the main residence at Moselle, do you remember changing in? You remember what you changed into?
Do I remember?
Yeah.
I know I changed clothes, and I've learned since then what I had on, but I don't.
You don't remember? Okay.
Don't remember that at all. But I understand I had on athletic shorts and a T-shirt.
Did they ever ask you on August the 11th whether, they ask you for those clothes? Can you produce the clothes? Did they ask you that?
No, they didn't.
Have they ever asked you for those clothes?
No. As far as my understanding goes, my clothes were never an issue in this case until y'all figured out, as my lawyers figured out, that there was no blood spatter on me.
Sir? Is that objection, Your Honor?
Reasons for the objection.
401, 402, and beyond in speculation, Your Honor.
Mr. Griffin.
It's a matter of public record. It's a matter of public record.
What is?
The issues with the shirt and the blood test.
It's a matter of public record.
Filed in this case, yes, sir.
The objection is overruled.
I'm well aware that my clothes never became an issue in this case until my lawyers proved that this blood spatter that they said I had on my shirt from my wife and my son was a lie, and that there was no blood on my shirt. And once they filed the documents and they proved that that was a lie, all of a sudden, the clothes I was wearing back on that day became an issue.
Amazing moment. He's turned his body completely towards the jury, and he's making a legal argument to the jury. Amazing. Never seen that before. I've watched a lot of trials. I've never seen that before. Now, let's get back to the clothes, though, because it's clear from the prosecution's witness on this issue, Blanca, the housekeeper, that she disagrees with what Alec Murdaugh just said. Disagrees with it and says what he's wearing in that Snapchat video is not what he wore to work. I saw what he wore to work. I checked his collar. Let's take a listen to her testimony, because this is what prosecutors are relying upon to prove that Alec Murdaugh has a bloody shirt somewhere that he got rid of.
After you and Maggie talked and texted, did you go to Moselle?
Yes, I did.
And when you got there, was Maggie there?
No, sir. She had just left.
Was Paul there?
No.
Was defendant Alex Murdaugh there?
Yes, he was.
Okay. When you walked in the house, was he up?
No, sir. He was in bed.
Did there come a point that morning where he left the house? Alex Murdaugh, did he leave and go to work or
Yes,
wherever?
he did.
Okay. And can you tell them what he was wearing, Alex Murdaugh, best of your memory, when he left Moselle?
He had a pair of khaki pants, greenish, I call it seafoam color, polo shirt, and he put a sports coat, a blue sports coat over it. And he put his shoes on, which were usually right there next to a dresser that they had right there in the living room area. That's where his shoes used to go, right there, so he just used to kind of slide his shoes on his way out the door.
Do you remember what type of shoes he had on June 7th, 2021, when he left?
His regular work shoes, the brown, there was a pair of brown leather shoes.
Was it a long sleeve shirt or a short sleeve shirt he left on?
The polo's a short sleeve shirt. In the master bathroom was her clothes were sitting next to the tub. It was a small pile of clothes right there next to the tub. And by the shower, if you walk in the master bedroom, there's a big garden tub, spa type tub. And then right here is the shower, and there's a window. On the floor next to the shower was a slight puddle of water, a towel, and a pair of khaki pants. And then as I went to the left to see if there was anything else that was out, I looked in the closet, and in the closet was a white damp towel on the floor, and there was I'm pretty sure the T-shirt was white at one time, but you know they get kind of dingy after a few years. But that it appeared that a T-shirt had fallen off of the stack of T-shirts that were on top of the shelf right there in the closet.
All right, so who is the jury going to believe? Are they going to believe Blanca saying that what's in that Snapchat video is not what he wore to work? Or are they going to believe Alec Murdaugh, who said, yeah, Snapchat, that's what I wore to work. Then I went back and changed into the T-shirt and shorts that you saw me wearing. All right, folks, when we come back, we've got more to cover. We're going to talk about those 911 calls, because remember the big finish for the prosecution in this case. The big finish as they ended their case, talking about 20 seconds from the time he pulls up to the dog kennels is when he calls 911. That it just wasn't enough time to fully assess and check pulses and do everything else that Alec Murdaugh said he did. So how did he deal with that today? When we come back, you'll find out.
What say you, Richard Alec Murdaugh? Are you guilty or not guilty of the felonies for in the stand indictment?
Not guilty.
We do believe that Mr. Murdaugh is a danger.
I've been up to it now. It's bad.
Okay, and are they breathing?
No, ma'am.
Okay, and you said it's your wife and your son?
My wife and my son.
He believes he's innocent. He believes that the killer or killers are still at large.
He's a bad guy, Judge. Jury needs to know he's a bad dude. And because he's a bad dude, we wouldn't put it past him to kill his wife and son.
Enroll today.
Welcome back to our bonus hour of closing arguments. This is where we connect the dots and put the whole big picture together for you. And today we have a lot to take a look at, the testimony of Alec Murdaugh. Right here, let's focus on that 911 call, because again, this is another big piece for prosecutors as part of their big finish, that there just wasn't enough time for Alec Murdaugh to do all the things that he said he did before he called 911. Because he arrives at the scene and then calls 911 within about 20 seconds. So today he testified about what he did and where he went. Listen closely, because it sounds a little vague to me. I'm not sure. Why don't you listen for yourself and you tell me if he's very specific about what he did and when he made the call, or if there's a little bit of gray area that he's creating here. Let's watch.
What'd you see?
Saw what y'all have seen pictures of.
And what'd you do when you came to a stop, Alec?
I think I jumped out of my car. I'm not exactly sure what I did, but no, I got out of my car. I know I ran back to my car, called 911.
Were you going to Paul and Maggie while you were on the phone with the 911 operators?
Yes.
Okay. A little bit, I'm going to play the 911 tape, but I just want to ask you, and you've told law enforcement that's been played here in the court, what did you do when you went up to Paul at some point in time?
Hey, Paul. Paul was so bad. At some point, I know I tried to check him for a pulse.
Did you go to Maggie?
Did.
Did you touch her?
I did.
Where did you touch Maggie?
I think I touched her down, just around like, I don't know. If you ask me exactly, I think I touched her down around her waist, but I don't know. Excuse me. I know I went back and forth. I went back and forth between them. I know. I know I did.
But when? Like at some point? What does at some point mean? It means, you know, you're a little bit, gives you a little bit of leeway in trying to explain this timeline. Because let's go back. I want to go back to the big finish for the prosecution in talking about this 911 call and how much time he spent at the scene before calling 911. Because now in court, he's not remembering exactly what he did. It's just at some point. Let's watch.
How many seconds of that from the time that the Suburban arrives at the kennels and he calls 911?
Roughly 20 seconds.
20 seconds?
That's correct.
Do you recall the defendant's statements to law enforcement shortly after the crime? That he went over and checked the bodies and that sort of thing?
I do.
What, if anything, in his statements to law enforcement did the defendant say about what he did when he arrived at the scene?
The defendant stated that he went and checked on Paul and Maggie to check the bodies.
And from the moment the Suburban arrived at the kennels, how long did it take for that 911 call to be made?
Less than 20 seconds.
Less than 20 seconds. So let's go back now to interviews 1 and 2 of Alec Murdaugh with police, with investigators here, talking about what he did that night. Again, this is significant. Does this match up with what he said today? Because today he's just saying at some point. Well, what did he say originally?
I drove up and saw and called. I went back to the kennels and, you know.
And when you went back to the kennels, besides Maggie and Paul, did you see anybody, any cars?
I didn't see anything right then, no, sir.
Take your time.
You know, I saw Maggie and I saw Paul laying down. I knew, you know, I didn't know, you know, I knew it was bad. I went over there and, you know, I saw it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I called 911.
Okay.
When I first got there, I know I got out of the car. And I mean, I know I got out of the car. I mean, I knew. Got out of the car, but right at first, I don't think I went all the way to them. I think I ran back and that's when I called 911.
All right, so is the jury going to believe him? Does that sound reasonable? No idea that anything was wrong that night. Just looking for his wife and his son at the kennels, pulls up, within 17 seconds calls 911, and here he's saying, yeah, that's what I did. It was bad. It was so bad. I called 911. We'll see. All right. When we come back, got to talk about the family, the Murdaugh family, and the relationship, the nature of the relationship, because today was, I think, a big day for Alec Murdaugh on the stand at times, talking about his wife and talking about his son. We'll show you what happened when we return.
Do you love Paul?
Did I love him? Like no other. He and Buster.
From missing person to murder victim.
He knew more than what he was saying.
And a former roommate becomes the prime suspect.
Someone They Knew with Tamron Hall. All new episodes Sunday, 9/8 Central on Court TV.
A budding romance allegedly cut short by a jealous ex-boyfriend.
But can prosecutors prove their case without a body?
The obsessed ex-boyfriend murder trial. Live coverage next week following jury selection on Court TV.
Free offer ends soon.
Paul? That was your nickname for Paul?
I mean, I called him Paw. Maggie called him Paw. Bus calls him Paw.
Sure.
Roro calls him Paw. I mean, that's
Roro? Who was Roro?
That's Rogan Gibson.
Okay. And This jury, of course, has heard multiple recorded statements of you during the course of this. Did you ever refer to Paul as Paw Paw during that?
I don't know. Hey, Paw Paw, and one of Paw Paw, and Paw Paw, Paw Paw, Paw Paw, Paw Paw, Paw Paw. Paul is Paul, my son Paul.
A lot of people are talking about that. I mean, and it may very well be the nickname, and I bet it was, Paw Paw. But never before had Alec Murdaugh referred to his son Paul as Paw Paw in any of the interviews. But now in front of this jury, he did. And let me tell you, this is purposeful. This is absolutely part of what the defense is doing. And I'm going to play for you right now the moment that may be the moment where the defense won this trial. If Alec Murdaugh is found not guilty, I mean 12 people saying not guilty, right? This is the moment. Because here he is talking about Paw Paw and Mags, his wife, his son, and while he's talking on that stand, the jury apparently is crying. If he made this connection in this moment, it could be game over for prosecutors. Let's watch it.
Tell this jury about Maggie and your relationship with her.
She was just as beautiful inside as she was outside. She was devoted, fun, playful. I mean, she had a laugh that, you know, you didn't even have to know what was funny. If you heard her laugh, you would laugh. I mean, she threw herself into her boy's life. I mean, you know, she never took not working for granted. I mean, she might not have worked, but I promise you, she worked. And she worked to make sure me and Paul and Buster had everything.
Will you tell the jury about Paul, please, and your relationship with him?
He had a side to him that was just so sweet. I mean, he wouldn't come home, but he wouldn't go check on his grandparents. I mean, he was such a special boy. He cared about people. He was fiercely loyal. And at 22 years old, I learned, I mean, Paw would tell his friends, be present, appreciate where you are, the things you have, and the people around you. I mean, 22-year-olds, do you know that think that way? Be present, appreciate things around you. At 22 years old.
Alec,
he's the most special boy.
Did you kill Maggie?
No, I did not kill Maggie. I did not kill Paul. I would never hurt Maggie, and I would never hurt Paul.
There you have it. Now, this is it's been very consistent with Alec Murdaugh. Let's take a look at that first interview.
Had Maggie and Paul been arguing over anything?
No.
What was their relationship like?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. How about yours and Maggie's?
Wonderful. I mean, I'm sure we had little things here and there, but we had a wonderful marriage, wonderful relationship.
And yours and Paul's relationship?
As good as it could be. Paul is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful kid. He can do almost anything. He gets along with almost anybody.
When we return next hour, live to Walterboro, Matt Johnson was in the courtroom. Did he see the tears from the jury? What did they look like? How many of them were crying? All those questions will be answered when closing arguments continues. Today, the biggest day of the trial yet. We'll be right back.